So, welcome everyone to today's Chapter Knowledge Series session. This is around Google Ads, and today we have Nate with us, who's our CAI Digital and Website Marketing Manager. So, it's great that we have someone on our team that has this knowledge base and does a lot of this for CAI. And so, at any time, if you have a question about anything that Nate is doing, please feel free to drop it in the chat or come off mute or raise your hand, and we can go ahead and get those questions answered for you as well. So, with that, Nate, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nate. As Kelly said, I'm the CAI Digital Website Marketing Manager for the team. I handle a lot of the strategy side of the things we do with our marketing channels. So I'm very excited to talk with you all today. As everyone at the company can tell you, I do very much enjoy talking about strategy and sort of breaking down the game that is Google and its rankings. So I hope you all can walk away with some helpful information that you can use with your own marketing departments. So kind of what I wanted to go through today and what I hope you all can take away from is, you could one, gain a basic understanding of the Google Ads platform and its functions, and maybe how you should approach a campaign launch, whether that be in-house with your own marketing departments or with a third-party vendor. And, as well as give you some ideas on how you can maximize your return on investment with the Google Ad budget that you're using. And then also give you some insight on some metrics that you should be tracking to see if you're gaining success with your marketing campaigns. And of course, we have some types of questions. So if that all sounds good, we'll dive in. So first question is, what is Google Ads? And I have the nice answer there for you, but simply put, Google is just a pay-per-click tool that you can use to put your content at the top results of Google and its platform partner websites. That's really there's a number of different tools you can use for it, or a number of different ad types you can use for it, and there's different targeting options. But I mean, that's really simply what it is. You're using your ad dollars to put content in front of people at the top of different search results based on what you've targeted. Now, I know there are some of you also right now that may be asking, um, why should I be using Google Ads? Or you may even be asking, is my organization, is my chapter right to be using Google Ads? And I would say the answer to that is yes. It's a very powerful tool. I think Google has designed something that's perfect for businesses of all sizes. So there's never a question of, do I have the right size organization? Am I reaching the, right number of members or something? Like you have the member size or whatever. There's nothing in question of that. It's a really flexible tool for everyone depending on their needs. It's really flexible depending on all sizes of budgets, as well as it can sort of sort of indirectly influence your SEO. It doesn't actually boost your rankings when it comes to organic search engine optimizations, but there are some indirect benefits when it comes to brand awareness and exposure. But also, there are opportunities for high return on investment because with Google Ads, you're only paying for the clicks that people are clicking on your ad. So unlike other platforms where you're paying so many dollars for that ad space for so many times, or you're paying for um, so many days or something to have an ad right there. It's not like that. You're really just paying for the engagement that you're getting on your clicks. And additionally with that, to really, I think, to be a really savvy marketing department, you should use Google Ads because the data that's inside the program is incredibly invaluable, or incredibly valuable. You can learn so much about your audiences, how they interact with your website, how they are interacting with the internet. You can so much learn about them as a demographic, as their ages, their job types, their behaviors on the internet, the devices they use, the geographies they're at. It's a really beneficial tool for your marketing strategy. However, as is any sort of marketing objective, it's not one of those things where you just say, let's just do it. You just put ad dollars behind it and you launch a Google Ads campaign. So as a helpful tip, I would really say that you need to make sure that you're using smart, measurable goals. When setting these parameters. You want to know exactly the objective is of the campaign, what you ads or what action or desired outcome you want to have for these ads, how long of a time period of it. Like you really want to get really, really granular. for that. And I would also say for some folks here, because I know there's that feeling that you feel that you need to be on there for an exposure or brand awareness uh, standpoint, which you're correct from. But you just need also to remember that Google Ads, um, the engagement they receive, 65% of those clicks are going to be for buying keywords. So you got to remember the intent of users when they are going on the internet. 35% of the clicks in organic searches when you're just kind of, looking for informational content on the internet, those are only going to be clicked on 35% of the time. So again, just remembering that idea. You want to make sure you're setting smart goals when setting up a Google Ads campaign, so you know exactly what the outcome is going to be, and you're trying to maximize your return on investment. So let's go through some of the types of ads that you can use on Google. Unfortunately, I don't have any picture examples, but you all have interacted with these before, so you can kind of you'll know what these are. So first off are like a responsive search ad. That's just something that you use you will see all the time. If you say, for example, if you were to search, I'm trying to think of a term right now, or if you say news articles or something like that, you'll see an ad for CNN. It looks like an ad right above, trending news, latest articles. That's what a responsive search ad is right there. A display ad is a text ad that you would see on a Google partner website. So you've definitely have seen those before, usually based on your behaviors that you've taken as a user. So if you were looking at products on like rei.com, or if you are on like Dick's Sporting Goods and you were on a website, a news partner website of Google, and then you saw that top banner ad for something like that, that's what a display ad is. Performance Max ads are kind of a special sort of things. They are a specialized ad. That is a new kind of thing with Google. A lot of people are using them, but I don't think it's really specific to you all. Same with like shopping ads. I mean, if you typed in Levi jeans or American Eagle jeans right now, those are those ads that you would see that have the cards with the pricing information that take you to the buy now section. Discovery ads too are sort of similar to that. They're ads. Those are ads. Oh no, excuse me. Discovery ads are similar to display ads. Those are the ads you would see in like your Google Gmail inbox. Have you ever seen those? Or they're like little pictures that surround your inbox. Those are discovery ads. App ads, those are exactly what they sound like. Apps to get you, or ads to get you to download an application. An example of those are like if you're ever on YouTube and you see in the search right next to like the first video that it recommends to you, there's like an app that'll say download Grammarly, or download, I don't know, some sort of application. That's exactly what an app ad is. YouTube ad is exactly what what those are before you watch a video, 30 seconds before. And smart campaigns are sort of another thing too, or a new thing from Google, where you can sort of combine all of those into one campaign. We don't really use those at CAI. I can let you all know that we definitely are deploying responsive search ads, display ads, and YouTube ads. Those are what we use the most. In the future, I would like to use some shopping ads maybe, but that's kind of down the road. So let's go a little bit more into like how these work. So Google operates on a pay per action pricing model where you have to pay a certain price for like I said, every time a user clicks on your ad or completes your conversion goal, which, another goal could be like an event registration, or you sign up for a newsletter or something like that. And the pricing for that convert or that bid is what you're going to hear me talk about very often, because it's basically an auction. You're paying for that space to be on there. But the price for that depends on like the keyword competition, the search volume, the expected reach, and like the time of year. And when you, as an organization, are starting to create a campaign, what you're going to place an ad, what you're going to be doing is specifying your maximum bid, or the most money you're willing to pay for that click, view, or desired action. So, for example, like what we do at and I'm just saying this off the top of my head because I do not know what the average cost per click is right now. But what we do at National is we have a keyword, for example, say PCAM, or Professional Community Association Manager. I hope I got that correct. I'm bad with acronyms sometimes. but we'll bid on both of those keywords. So say the keyword is $2.50. We will say the maximum bid for us to get that keyword is $2.55, or we'll go $2.60. So that means outside of our competitors, we are paying the most money in that auction for the space to have that top search results there. Now there are three bidding options that, because there are some nuances, and you've probably all experienced this if you used to using Google Ads. There's three nuances to that. So there's that first version of it, exactly what I said. There's the cost per click. So you're paying for you're paying that $2 at maximum bid. You're paying that $2 on average, that $2.50 for someone to click on that ad. So that's what you pay every single time. Or you can do a bidding process where it's cost per mil or cost per thousand impressions. So every 1,000 people that see that ad, that's the money you're going to pay. So it depends on the cost of those impressions. We do something like that as well, where we run like those display ads I said. We pay for 300,000 impressions. So I'm trying to think if I pay the dollar amount. I think it's $100 then per thousand impressions. I think we're paying about $3,000 for those. But so again, I think it's like $100 for 1,000 impressions. So that's what we're paying every time 1,000 people see that. Or you pay cost per engagement, and that's when someone completes that desired action for you. So again, that would kind of relate maybe to like a shopping ad if you were going to run those. It costs this much for someone to click on the ad or and it can complete the conversion goal. That's what it's going to cost you. So that's kind of the nuances of it, but I think a lot of the time what you're going to be working with is the cost per click and or the cost per mil, whether again, like I said, you're working in-house or with a third-party vendor. But what's important to note with this is that it's different from what I'm talking about is kind of different from your overall budget. Um, the idea of it is kind of if you were going to an auction, your your budget is the wallet you have on the money you would like to spend, and the maximum bid is the individual items that you're looking for. So those are the keywords you're bidding on. There are options in Google Ads though to set your budget differently. So you can set a daily budget and or you can set a overall budget, or excuse me, a lifetime budget. I would recommend, as again as a helpful tip, is if you're new to Google Ads, I would recommend using a daily budget and letting Google optimize your individual biddings. Oh, excuse me too. One thing I want to note too is like in Google with your overall budget, you can have Google, it's like automatic tools. They can set the individual biddings for those keywords for you. Like you can help it optimize that. Or you could go in and individually manually set all those prices of what your maximum bid's going to be for every single keyword you want to deploy for your campaign. So those are just kind of those ideas there with that. But I would always recommend if you're really new to this, I would let Google do some of that work for you. Another thing that impacts your Google Ads is your quality score. This is an important thing to note, and something that has been challenged for us in the past too here in the national side. Is quality score is sort of like a credit score, and it affects how your ads perform, and again how much you might pay for some of those ads for that ad space. Quality scores range from 1 to 10, and it's Google's way of telling you or telling the search results, like when it's looking through the algorithm, how relevant your ad is and how useful the landing page that it's sending users are in relevance to that keyword. So a higher score is much better for your ads. And the way they calculate it is on three components. Like I said, the click-through rate, the ad relevance, and the landing page experience. I'm trying to one note for this is like one problem we had in the past, going back to like that example for PCAM. We were bidding on that keyword or those keywords for PCAM or Professional Community Association Manager. And then we were sending users, or like we would have an ad, that would say the headline and description, for Professional Community Association Managers, view here today to advance your career. That was kind of what the ad looked like. But then we would send them to a page that was like education for managers. Well, that's not very clear. Like, why, if I'm a community association manager, I'm thinking I'm going to a page that's dedicated to this exact topic. I don't need to know everything about, ASMs and LSMs, all these other, different topics, and nor do I really need to know like when that course is. If I'm a user and I'm trying to have this experience, it's better to have a dedicated landing page that tells me everything specific to what is needed for a PCAM. So that impacts the quality score. So that's one thing you should note when you're putting your ads together is what is the quality score of the ad. Is again, does that fulfill the objective for the user? But I will say quality score is not one of those things that you should always be honed in on, that you should always be um, optimizing or looking for to boost, because it's a weird thing. It's like a weird balancing act where you could have an ad with a quality score of 5, but it has a high conversion rate and it's completing your goals. So it's one of those things like, do we need to really focus on that? But I would, when you're early on looking at launching your campaigns, you should look into your quality score, and just making sure you're making high quality ads. So the ultimate question that I know is on everyone's mind is how much should you be spending on your Google Ads campaigns monthly? Um, and probably, or unfortunately, I have the answer that no one wants to hear is there isn't a perfect answer. If you asked 10 different marketers, they would tell you 10 different things. But again, I think it's better for you all to know a little bit how Google ad campaigns budgets are set. And that'll give you a better idea on how you can create, or, you know, set a budget strategy depending on your campaign needs or your goals for how you want to promote yourself on Google. So again, as I kind of brought up before, there's the daily budgets and then there's the lifetime budgets. So going back again, let's say you had $300 that you wanted to spend over 30 days on Google Ads. What you would do with the daily budget is you would tell Google that all I want to do is spend $10 maximum every day to get my ads into those top search results on my um, based on my targeting preferences. A lifetime budget, what that would do is say, um, I have five. You would have say like 500, or say let's say $300 for 30 days. That's it. I just have $300, and that's the maximum budget that I'm going to spend over that entire period. And or actually you would probably do it over a longer experience. So let's say you would have $5,000 over like 90 days, and you just put it there, and that's how the budget is, or that's how that campaign is specifically set up. And there's pros and cons to each of those. So with the daily budgets thing, where you're just looking on it really on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis, you have more control over your spending. There's also greater flexibility as you see the campaign performance for you to change how much you're spending, or take away what you're spending. And there's also more risk mitigation when you're using daily budgets, because you know how much you're spending per day. It's going to be capped. Um, there is, though, when you come to like a daily budgets campaign, because you're just really going into it fresh. There's limited control over the results. You have to, and that's why you need increased monitoring efforts. You need to be continually looking into your daily budgets or into that report if you're using in that sort of way, to see how the clicks are going and see if you're wasting money or if you're overspending with the clicks, things like that. However, with the lifetime budget, it's a little bit different. I use lifetime budgets, for example, on like Facebook or LinkedIn when it comes to event promotion for us. So I'm doing it right now where I have $1,500 dependent from now until I think it's the first week of May. Let me just say from now until the first week of May. So from now until then, I have $1,500 to spend on my ads. But that ad amount is from that day period. It's set. So it's going to vary from when my ad campaign is going to be shown over that period. You don't have as much control over when it is. But it enhances your result control because you have it set up because you know that you're sending people to an event registration campaign. You know exactly kind of what the achieved action is there for a user. So again, that kind of reduces the monitoring where you can check in a little bit less because you know, all right, it's going to be reaching this many people. I have it average to reach this many people a day. Hopefully, you have this many uh, uh, conversions, and so that's kind of the idea with the lifetime budget. And you can again, you have chances for improved results. The trouble though is there's you can't have that spending control. Once you lock in that $1,500, you can't add or take away from it. Now, this is something I've done in the past where with bad targeting, like bad targeting parameters in my early career, I have wasted $15 for a campaign that was supposed to, or $1,500 for a campaign that was supposed to last, like I said, like 60 days, and that campaign burned out in 30 because it was reaching a wide audience of people really quickly. So that's the kind of less flexibility and spending control over it. Or if you do have it over that 30 days, in some cases with some platforms, it'll continue to spend the money. So you'll exceed that $1,500. So that's just something to think about. So when it comes to choosing a right budget for your organization's need, I would really factor in your campaign goals. Like, what do you want this campaign to achieve? Is it supposed to be for brand awareness? Is it supposed to be to increase membership? Is it supposed to be for a sign up for some sort of download or event? Um, really be specific on what the goal is for that campaign. Think about the length too. Is this going to be an ongoing campaign where we don't know how long this is going to run? Is this something that's going to lead up to an event? Is there like the item or the content we're promoting? Is there a shelf life for this? I would take that into size. I would also take into size again your overall budget campaign, your overall budget for all your marketing campaigns. How can you fit in advertising in a healthy way into that? Think about your competitors too, who or if you have some. I'm not exactly thinking about that. And this is something if you have third party vendors, they can definitely help you out. Look at your competitors. Look at what ads they are delivering on Google as well. Um, See if you can use. There are tools that are out there that can give you an idea of the types of ads they're using, how they're bidding on it, what their strategies might be. So that'll influence how much more money you might want to dedicate to your budget or kind of how you want to differentiate yourself with your ads. In addition, I would do keyword research if that's kind of how you want to target people. There are free tools in your Google Ads tool if you already have an account. It's called the Keyword Planner. It's very, very simple to use. And what it shows you is the average cost as well as the lowest cost and the highest cost for certain keywords. So as you're starting to plan out, if you do keyword research with some SEO tools and you have a list of 50 keywords that you want to bid on, go look up all those keywords and see that it costs, okay, for community association manager or, let's say CAI chapter near me costs $1. Make sure you have that, or the lowest average cost is $1. The highest bid is $1.12. Have that written down, and that can factor into how you budget that. You can also look at Search Console, right? Google Search Console is a free tool that can show you the volume of how certain terms and other related terms are being searched on the internet. And that'll tell you if that's like even a term worthy of bidding on. So, like for example, if that might have happened in the past where you had a list of all these keywords, and you're paying so much money for them, but guess what? Only 100 people on the entire internet are looking them on average a month. So those are some of the things. It might just be a negative keyword that's affecting your list. So it requires optimization. So just as you're planning your budget out, and again, I know there's not a best answer for that. Um, these are some of the detail. These are some of the components I would factor in when you're trying to plan something. This is from a platform called Media Digital. Um, Not super relevant to us, but just I wanted to throw it in there. What is the average cost per click for certain industries? And I will say cost per click too also sometimes relates to the cost for the conversion as well. So not super helpful, but just an idea of like again what it costs for a user to click on an ad for certain industries. And again, that's 2025 data. And then finally, what I would say is the key performance indicators, the KPIs that you should be measuring to track success for your Google ad campaigns. Um, First off, the first thing I would look on is your return on ad spend, which is very simple. The revenue you generate versus all your ad dollars that you spend. Um, Again, this is the clearest example of your return on investment. So, if you spend $1,000 on ads and you got $10,000 in revenue, that's a pretty good ad campaign. That's kind of what you need to look at. I would also, a key number two item I would look at is your total conversions. How many times users perform that desired action that you laid out for your campaign. And like I said, that could be a purchase, sign up for a newsletter, event, um, app installation, you name it. But I mean, that's the key, the another key indicator that your ads are performing well. Another third thing I would look at too is your conversion rate. So the number of site visitors that are completing that action based on versus the number of people that convert on the or clicking on that. So you want to make sure that out of the number of clicks you're getting, you're still having a high number of actions um, on your ad. So for example, if you had a campaign that had 300 clicks but only three total conversions, that'd be a very small conversion rate. So that's kind of a very unsuccessful campaign. That's again the thing you want to look at. Another thing you want to look at is the cost per those the cost per acquisition or the cost for that conversion or the action you were looking at. And again, this talks about the profitability of your and the return on investment on that specific action that you had. So again, this kind of goes back to more like sales, for example. But if you're spending what was the cost per click on an ad, um, $5, and then the conversion was what would it be like 5.50? It wouldn't like $5.50 or something like that. You want to make sure that you're spending your ad dollars correctly and that the cost per acquisition isn't too high. Because again, it might indicate that your ads aren't efficiently running. Additionally, again, you want to look at all the clicks your ads are getting. Are we getting a high number of clicks? Um, and relatively, you want to look at your impressions, and your impressions and click through rate. So, say again, you have 10,000 impressions, but only 100 clicks on your ad. That's a really low click through rate, and that just shows that your ad is underperforming. So these are again some of the KPIs that I would continue to track to measure your success. And depending on again how you would kind of outline a campaign, um, most of these will kind of weigh in on how you should optimize, and they'll definitely tell the story of how you should optimize and make changes to your campaigns. So that's really everything. Happy to take any questions from anyone. I can go back to anything too if I stumbled over anything and didn't spend too much time. So please let me know.
Thank you, Nate. Feel free if you want to come off mute to ask anything specifically, or if you'd like Nate to clarify anything. I know sometimes with some of the technical jargon, it can get confusing too, so we can clarify that if needed. But Tony, I see you came off mute.
Yeah, Nate, I have a question about Facebook. We don't use Facebook for
Yeah.
ads mostly because I have trouble defining what our audience should be on Facebook. I mean, we have our page followers, but I don't know that that's necessarily relevant. So how do you find an appropriate audience on Facebook? Or I guess it's easier on LinkedIn, but yeah, specific to Facebook.
That's a good question. So we do a number of different things. One tool we use, there's a number of different ways you can do it. So one is would recommend is we've done campaigns on Facebook where there's a automatic way where you can set a targeting preference for people that are like your page followers. So that is one thing I like to do. There's another targeting preference where this takes some downloading from like I would say email lists, or if you have any information on your like actual website users, you can upload CSV lists to Facebook that creates lookalike, what are called lookalike audiences. And again, that means your ads are going to be targeted to people that are similar to those users that you've uploaded. So people that might be in those it might look like people that have those same addresses, people that have those same job titles, people that might work for those same organizations. That's what a lookalike audience is. Um, as well as we have a tool that we use called Meltwater. That's our social media management tool that we use to schedule all of our items, and I use for reporting. And you might use something similar. All of you might use something like Sprout or Hootsuite, SEM or HubSpot, something like that, a social media management tool. A lot of those do also offer social media monitoring tools that allow you to get a view into how users are interacting um, in your industry, how those followers are interacting with your industry or like your competitors. So that's something I would do too. And I was utilize those tools, maybe monitor different social media, monitor competitors, see what kind of followers they have. Um, and you can have those sort of following parameters. I would also say too, Facebook's very convenient. You can be very simple. If there's, if there's if there's certain publications that you think your chapter members or interact with, like I don't know, Home and Garden magazine, you can say target the people that follow Home and Garden magazine. It can be that simple. So you don't have to think of it at a high level where you have to like think of like I want to target people right here with this specific job title with this kind of account. You can do a lot of different things to find those right audiences.
So we do have a question in the chat. At headquarters, do we ever run ads on behalf of the chapters or regionally on social media or Google?
We run on Google. We run a find a chapters ad. That's a part of our membership ad campaign. Just a very targeted thing if for people looking for like CAI chapter near me, or again thinking locally with those sort of search terms. We run a campaign that sends people to the landing page on the website that says find a chapter, with the goal that they convert and find you all. That's I can say is the clearest example of what we do. But we haven't been very specific of using our ad dollars ever to, have specific content on a specific chapter.
Thank you, Nate. And one thing I also want to mention during this conversation is a part of one of our initiatives in recruitment efforts. So again, this would have to be a campaign related to recruiting members, is that we will reimburse chapters up to $500 in a calendar year if you spend up to $1,000. So if you're spending $1,000 on your campaign for recruitment efforts, then we will reimburse $500 of that 1,000 back to you. So again, you can send that on to me or any of the chapter relations team, and then we can get that over to our membership team for that. But that is something that we're doing. So if you are running a campaign and you're not already using that recruitment reimbursement and the campaign is around recruitment, again, this would fit within that structure. Christine, go ahead. You came off mute.
Yes, hi. First of all, Nate, thank you very much for giving me the basics and keeping it very easy to understand, because this is something new to me. Based on your presentation and being that it would be our first time campaign, do you have any specific keywords that you could suggest to me to attract specifically community associations? We seem to reach business partners quite well just in our networking, but to reach those outlying communities that don't know about us.
Yes, I would. What I would recommend is I would use a keyword research tool. One I would recommend that I use in our organization is moz.com, and there are free versions of it. So the simplest thing I would do is with that tool, they have a very, very interesting component where you can upload your site URL into that tool, and it'll find a list of all the keywords that are searched to your website. Here, I can even show, I forget that I'm sharing my screen.
I'm sorry, what was the name of that?
Moz.com. I'll show you all right now. And there are other things like that. Trying to think of another tool. SEM Rush is one that I know that people use quite often. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Marketo, I think, is another tool that does the same thing. But, and again, like I said, there is a free version of this. So I think with the free version, you can use the Keyword Explorer tool up to 10 times per month. But I'll use the national website. And these are keywords that might be relevant to you, or you could use your own chapter website. But simply, you could just upload that into that keyword research tool, hit analyze.
Mhm.
And this tool will show you that there are about 3,600 keywords on the internet that this website is ranking for. It'll show you that 256 of these keywords rank in the number 1 to 3 spot. So when you type in, say CA not national, well, that's it. This is one of our ads to show you. This is what we bid on. But we're going to be the number 1 spot right there. So
Okay.
that is what's showing with that keywords research tool. Additionally, it will show you that 496 of those keywords are in the number 4 to 10 spot. And then you can get a list of all the ranking keywords that you have. And
So you can, I'm sorry, the screen's very small, but so in those, can you go back a screen to where?
Yeah.
Yeah. So those 256 keywords in the number 1 through 3, how would I find those? How do I get there?
So again, when you hit the see all ranking keywords
Yeah.
and you look at this full chart, you'll see what the actual keyword is. You can see
Oh, okay.
the
Okay.
number 1 spot, and then it'll also show you the web page that ranking is going to. So we rank number 1 for M100, and it'll show us that it's going to this M100 education.
Oh, how
for
interesting.
page.
Okay.
And then a different.
Nate, would you mind dropping in? I just dropped in, for example, the Long Island chapter website. Would you mind, just since you've got that page up, of dropping their website into that search locator, just to give us an example of maybe what we're seeing from them?
So it looks like your website has 43 ranking keywords.
Okay.
The keyword that gets you have the number 1 ranking position for is Long Island trade show campaigns. I would definitely bid on that if you were to launch a Google keywords campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I am noticing that you're not hitting rankings on with this one was just basic community associations.
Right.
So Christine, when you were saying that, I wonder, if doing something even just simple as that. Now, Nate, they are very specific to Long Island, and a lot of our chapters are very specific to areas. So would you recommend them going even deeper and saying like community associations Long Island, or is
Yes.
it better to keep it more basic, knowing that it could be anywhere that someone's searching that, and so it wouldn't help in the long run?
So yes, for a paid campaign strategy, I most definitely recommend that. Like most of the time, like I said, there's that difference between informational search intent and commercial search intent. And with paid campaigns, you want to reach more of that commercial audience. So I mean, that's why a lot of restaurants, you see ads, they say restaurants near me. That's why they bid on that keyword. So they go close, like they rank high right there, because you want someone in the act of searching for something local. So local CAA chapter near me, I would definitely bid on that keyword. Local CAI chapter, bid on that keyword for your organization.
Okay.
And then yeah, specific to your area, any sort of neighborhoods or something like that. CAI.
Well, I could do
I live
like
in an area called South Riding of Ashburn, Virginia. I would bid on CAI South Riding, so something like that.
And also maybe like our counties, we have 2 counties,
Yep.
Nassau County and Suffolk County. Is that acceptable?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much, Nita. I appreciate
Of course, and similar with these tools, you can there are free options. So you can do research with that. So CAI Long Island. See, Kelly, I knew we would have fun nerding out on my favorite subject. A tool like this shows you like some monthly volume, not 0 to 10 people are searching for it. So one, that'd be a good keyword to bid on for you with a maximum bid of like $1, because I bet it's like 30 cents for it. And the difficulty score, that's like a 0 to 100. So 43, it's kind of moderately difficult to rank for it. Again, I'm getting very technical, but it can also show you other keywords that are similar to that you could use to run. So long CAI Long Island Trade Show, definitely a keyword I would bid on for you.
Okay.
But I'm even seeing, Long Island Association, like I'm seeing like
Yeah.
some of our, I'm sure you even see there was a Hills Association. And so you might know some of these too, or Quail Run homeowners. So
Yeah,
those
they're
might
our
be,
members. Mhm.
I
right.
would
And
say,
so,
yeah, another one I'd be Long Island HOA. I know that sounds silly, but it's the idea is you want to cast that net to catch anyone in that top search result.
Okay, and let me ask you one other thing. Do you have to pay separate? Like, what if you put in written out longhand, Long Island HOA versus LI
Yes.
HOA? Does it matter? Do you need
No,
to?
you have to pay separate. Again,
Okay,
that's what you would use the keyword planner tool, but yes, you do have to pay separate. We pay for CAI event and CAI events, plural. We
Okay.
pay for each of those separate.
Okay. Good to know. Thank you again.
any other questions for Nate at this time? I will say, we've got Nate, he's a member of our team. So please feel free Nate, if you don't mind dropping your email in the chat, please feel free to reach out to Nate if you think of any additional questions or you'd like to run something by him. Again, he's fantastic. I talk to him almost daily. He fixes a lot of issues on my end with things too. So I really appreciate everything that Nate does for our team. But again, I think he's a great resource for you if you're trying to do something or start something, or again, if you just have some questions about, you know, maybe setting a price like, hey, does this seem too low or too high for something? And again, we can also talk through some budget things too, or if you want to talk strategy, again, Nate kind of geeks out with some of these stuff and pulling some of the stats. So feel free to help him geek out about these things and help you along the way. So with that, if no one else has any other questions, thank you guys for coming today. Thank you, Tony, for bringing this up for a session. I think this is great. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day today.